So today I want to talk about threshold moments. And in many ways, we are going through a time of thresholds by almost any different definition you can think of. The situation in Ukraine is one of those global thresholds that's happening right now. But we also, of course, go through thresholds on a personal, emotional, physical, or spiritual basis. It's all spiritual. And whenever I'm aware of crossing into a new threshold, I like to surround myself with Ganesh. This is my statue of Ganesh, and I actually have a miniature pocket-sized Ganesh. And I also have a medium Ganesh, and I think this Ganesh is maybe mixed with Sarasvati, the goddess of music, because this Ganesh, you never see a Ganesh with a sitar or a tampura, a musical instrument, but maybe someone has some wisdom on that. Maybe this isn't Ganesh, but I think I have three Ganeshas, or Ganeshai. And Ganesh is a 3,000-year-old Hindu deity among many, many countless Hindu deities. Ganesh is the Lord of thresholds. He's also known as the remover of obstacles and God of beginnings. And you don't have to believe in the deity of Ganesh to take some wisdom from the symbology of what Ganesh represents. But I do believe that Ganesh is another manifestation of the one God of our understanding. So again, Ganesh is known as the Lord of Thresholds. And because of that, in India, they put Ganesh statues at gates, entryways to sacred places. It's said that Ganesh stands at the doorway of the old and the new. And it's clear that we've been crossing through planetary threshold, where I think we're always crossing through a threshold of some kind, but at this time in particular, it's a very intense time for the planet. Geopolitically, climate crisis, global health crisis, crisis in justice. And I believe that along with the global crises, we are all connected together. So we cannot not have a personal spiritual crisis because of these things. And one of the things that I think for me is the hallmark of a threshold, the thing that sets it apart from other transitions, is we don't know how long this threshold will last or exactly how to get through it. We don't have all the solutions. There's uncertainty. So sometimes when I cross through a particularly tough doorway, I put the Ganesh statue next to my bed, and I just go to sleep every night with a prayer for guidance. And my prayer is, I don't know how. Show me the way. Guide me through. At times like this, Ganesh becomes symbolic of our trust in the one God of our understanding. And sometimes in these moments, I ask Archangel Michael or Jesus for the same type of guidance and wisdom. And I know this isn't traditional prayer in the mode of our movement, but when we're not ready for affirmations, as I've said, we can absolutely pray to a God that is seemingly outside of ourselves until we can recognize our own divinity in our moments of weakness, right? And that's the paradox, they say, of New Thought, that God is both personal and principle. So again, there is uncertainty and sometimes angst when encountering these thresholds. So we absolutely approach many of these thresholds as something to be cursed. But instead, if we view these things as a doorway of transformation, as Michael Beckwith would put it, it can be transformative by definition, meaning that once you go through it, you'll come out the other side transformed to a higher place, changed forever. And these doorways and thresholds, they sometimes look like this. We suddenly find ourselves having a crisis thrust upon us. Maybe it's a health problem. Maybe it's a financial situation. Maybe it's a problem in a relationship. Maybe it's a problem at work. And we can't back up. We can't back up as much as we'd like to, just like a car accident. We can't back up and undo it. We have to go through the steps, whatever's to come next. And sometimes it feels like we're stuck in a situation, but we have to go through it. And in a moment like this, going back to what Michael Beckwith would say, he would say we're crossing through a threshold where our choiceability is high. So it's a moment that's asking us to make a choice. And that choice is, how are we going to move through it? And that choice, we may not be able to change the immediate situation or the immediate condition, but the choice changes everything. And we are able to eventually change the situation and the condition that surrounds us because of that choice. And when we're crossing through a threshold moment, it's hard to see the lessons sometimes. I didn't see the lessons of a breakup. I didn't see the lessons of my drug problem or my health problems until much later. When I realized that I had a problem with drugs, it wasn't until years later that I realized that the process had to work itself through, and that the gift was, to me, I didn't realize it until much later, the gift was owning my own happiness instead of finding happiness outside myself. That was the gift, one gift of many that came from that particular threshold. And if someone would have pulled me out of that threshold, right, and tried to rescue me from it, and perhaps put me in an intervention situation or rehab, I would have gone right back to drugs, because the lesson was not done with me. The sacred threshold was in process, and you cannot pull someone. Sometimes you need to, right, to save someone's life. I don't want to diss interventions and rehab, but for many crises, how many of you have tried to help a friend? You give them the best advice possible, and it falls on deaf ears. And then one day they hear it, and one day they're preaching it to others, right? And so again, this is for any kind of threshold that you could be having in your life. And I think that when we find ourselves in this threshold, that another hallmark is it doesn't always feel joyful at the outset. But we have this choiceability moment, as Michael Beckwith would say, where I think the choice for me often is I can be defeated or I can choose to go on. I can be completely just, overwhelmed and, lost, or I can choose to go through it one step at a time, putting one foot in front of the other. So back to Ganesh. Ganesh is known also, besides the Lord of Thresholds, Ganesh is known as the remover of obstacles. And I think these things are related. Ganesh is always pictured with a rat beneath his feet. And I don't know if you can see that there's a little rat right there. I'm gonna make it even closer. Okay. And even on it's kind of a rule. Even on the teeny one, there's a little rat right down there. And even on the other Ganesh statue. And that rat is really a symbolization that Ganesh can conquer or help you conquer obstacles. And Ganesh symbolizes our ability to do the same. So what's really interesting is that Ganesh is not only the remover of obstacles, he can take obstacles away from our path. He can make our threshold more easy to bear. But Ganesh will often put obstacles in our place for the lessons that we can glean from them. So the next time you encounter an obstacle, think of it not as something bad, but question, is this obstacle an ally? Shamanic language often uses that term. It's an ally or a teacher. Is that obstacle an ally or a teacher? I'd say all obstacles are or can be. They are indicators that there's something that's waiting or ready to be healed in this moment. Because I don't think they would be given to us unless we were spiritually ready to take on this obstacle, whatever it is. And instead of saying, I need to get through this obstacle as quickly as possible, ask, perhaps, why am I facing this right now? Or maybe a better question is, what is the gift in this for me? Richard Bach, you may remember, said that there is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. There's no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. And I was thinking, as I was writing this talk last night, I was thinking about one of those problems. I was thinking about my mom when she had her stroke in January of 2016. And I had a huge realization last night along this topic. I never asked the question, what's the gift in this for me, until last night? And the answer is, I remember I was so busy working. At that time, I was working in Mountain View, living in San Jose. I had just gotten a new rental condo. I was busy doing drum circles at night and other activities and working all day and working all night. But my mom's stroke brought us together in a unique way. I quit my job, I left my home, and I moved in with her for a year and a half. And it was a gift to be with her, to take care of her. We would go on drives together. I would take her to her favorite place, Starbucks, and we would watch Warriors games together. We did so much together because of her affliction. And it was a challenge. There was pain. I can't deny that. There was suffering, but there was so much richness in this time because it not only brought us, but it brought our whole family together in a way that would have been impossible if she would have just, I was thinking, if she would have just died in her sleep one night, I wouldn't have had these hours, these months, these years of closeness with her. So that was the gift for me. This week, I also kind of was thinking about, I wasn't thinking about this talk yet, but I did this exercise that back in the CSL days I had done before, but I wanted to do it again. And I know you can't see this too well, but this is a life chart. And I really felt called to do a life chart. And I made a grid and I put each year of my life right at the top. And I put my age, how old I was, right here at the bottom. And then every time something wonderful happened, all the most memorable, wonderful events of my life, I put at the top. And the higher they were, the more wonderful they were, right? And then when things happened in my life, there's my battle with drugs, there's my divorce, these things are on the bottom. And I realized that all of these are the obstacles, these are the thresholds, because none of these were wasted. None of these were without a gift, right? They all had a gift, and they were all preceded by something wonderful, like these moments. And these moments up here have arrows because they last a lot longer, right? And so there were blessings in disguise that were all over my life. So I ask you right now, what obstacle in your life has been perceived initially as something bad, but then you realize It was a blessing in disguise. And if you think of these things long enough, you'll realize how numerous they are and how every problem has its gifts for you. So I know it's not always an easy thing to go through, and I'm not here to trivialize the bad things that happen to us in life. I'm not here to trivialize any of the challenges or the losses that happen. But I challenge you to think about that mantra. There is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. So let's take a moment to pray together. Through God, we are actively co-creating our lives. We're co-creating our moments of choice and choiceability. With each one of those moments of choiceability, we're taking our power back. We are recognizing and remembering our divinity, and we are seeing through new eyes. So I understand my power to travel through thresholds, knowing that God's grace has never left me. And I trust in the God of my understanding to guide me on the next steps, knowing that it is all in divine timing. All that I need to make this happen will be supplied, helping me open new doors when I'm ready, new transformations, new thresholds, new discoveries, new gifts, new blessings. I'm grateful for this realization. It's sacred, it's a gift, it's blessed, and so it is.